What is the name of Google's parent company, created in 2015? Alphabet. Google created the parent company in 2015. Which tech giant acquired GitHub in 2018? Went with Microsoft? Good read. GitHub joined its developer ecosystem in 2018. Which British company licenses processor architecture used by both Apple and Qualcomm? ARM. It licenses architecture used by companies such as Apple and Qualcomm. Which browser came bundled with Windows and dominated the late 1990s web? A little desktop nostalgia. Internet Explorer was the default gateway to the web. Which online marketplace spun PayPal off as an independent company in 2015? eBay. The 2015 split gave PayPal room to grow beyond its former marketplace parent. Which U.S. telecom giant was forced to spin off 7 regional Baby Bells in 1984? AT&T. The court-ordered breakup created 7 regional Baby Bells. Which publisher brought Call of Duty, Warcraft, and Candy Crush into Microsoft's portfolio in 2023? Activision Blizzard. Those franchises reveal Microsoft's strategic bet across console. Which Amazon rule says a team should be small enough to feed with 2 pizzas? The 2-pizza rule. Amazon's point was simple: smaller teams move faster.
Which company became the face of the 2021 meme stock rally? GameStop. A struggling retailer became the emblem of the 2021 meme stock uprising. What usually drives a short squeeze higher? Forced buying. When short sellers scramble to exit, their demand can push the price even higher. Which index is commonly called Wall Street's fear gauge? The VIX. It tracks expected volatility, which is why traders call it Wall Street's fear gauge. What nickname was given to the global stock crash of October 19, 1987? Black Monday. The name still marks October 19th, one of market's most dramatic single-day collapses. What industry did Berkshire Hathaway originally operate in? Textiles. Buffett transformed a failing mill business into the Berkshire Hathaway empire investors know today. Which investor became known as the man who broke the Bank of England? George Soros. His 1992 bet against sterling produced one of finance's most enduring nicknames. Which exchange traces its origin to the 1792 Buttonwood Agreement? NYSE. Its origin reaches back to the Buttonwood Agreement signed by New York brokers in 1792. Which order acts as a trader's emergency exit once a stock falls to a preset price? Stop loss. Think of it as an emergency exit designed to limit damage when the market moves against you. Which Hermès handbag was named after actress and singer Jane Birkin? The Birkin. A chance meeting with Jane Birkin on a flight inspired one of luxury's most coveted bags. Which luxury house began as a Paris trunk maker in 1854? Louis Vuitton. The house began with travel trunks, an origin still visible in its identity today. Which luxury group owns Cartier and Van Cleef & Arpels? Richemont. The group's portfolio includes Cartier, Van Cleef & Arpels. Which jewelry house turned a robin's egg blue box into a protected brand asset? Tiffany. Which fashion house introduced the influential New Look in 1947? Christian Dior. The 1947 New Look restored dramatic silhouettes. The Hermès Kelly bag was renamed in honor of which public figure? Grace Kelly. Her association with the Hermès bag was so powerful that the Kelly name endured. Which designer created both the Royal Oak and the Nautilus watches? That was the deeper cut. Gerald Ginta designed both the Royal Oak and the Nautilus. Which watch brand says you merely look after its timepiece for the next generation? Patek Philippe. The campaign turned inheritance into strategy. Which social app began as a location-based project called Bourbon? Instagram. Before filters and influencers, Kevin Systrom's project was called Bourbon. Which app is famous for its annual Wrapped listening summary? Spotify. Wrapped turned personal listening data into an annual ritual. Spotify and Dropbox let users start free, then charge for premium features. What model is this? Freemium. The free tier builds reach. Premium features convert part of that audience into paying customers. Which app popularized disappearing photo messages? Snapchat. Disappearing photos made impermanence the product and changed the behavior of social apps. What was Uber originally called? UberCab. The name was shortened later, but the original concept already centered on ordering rides by phone. Which company acquired Musical.ly and merged it into TikTok? ByteDance. It merged Musical.ly into TikTok. Which social platform emerged from a side project inside podcasting company Odeo? Twitter. It emerged inside Odeo, a podcasting startup whose original business was already losing momentum. What term describes an app combining messaging, payments, shopping, and transport? A super app. Which founder sold running shoes from his car before building Nike? Phil Knight. Long before Nike went global, he sold imported running shoes from the trunk of his car. coffee chain brought Howard Schultz back as CEO in 2008 to lead a turnaround? Starbucks. Schultz returned in 2008. Which entrepreneur built Virgin from a mail-order record business? Richard Branson. Virgin began with mail-order records before expanding into airlines, media, hotels. Which brand name combines Ingvar Kamprad's initials with his childhood farm and village? IKEA. The name combines Ingvar Kamprad's initials with Elmtereed and Augenereed. Which product powered Michael Bloomberg's Wall Street data empire after Salomon Brothers? Bloomberg Terminal. It's real-time data and analytics. Which outdoor brand was transferred to a trust and nonprofit structure in 2022? Patagonia. Its 2022 ownership transfer placed voting control in a trust. Which Intel leader wrote the business classic Only the Paranoid Survive? Andy Grove. Which beauty brand grew through free samples and founder-led personal demonstrations? Estee Lauder. Free samples and personal demonstrations.
Which city is home to Marina Bay Sands? Singapore. Marina Bay Sands turned 3 towers and a rooftop sky park. Which structure gives investors property exposure without buying buildings directly? REIT. It gives investors property exposure without requiring them to buy an entire building. Why does One World Trade Center rise to 1776 feet? Independence Year. The tower's 1776-foot height. Which New York skyscraper opened in 1931 and remained the world's tallest for 4 decades? The Empire State Building. It opened in 1931 and held the world height record for 4 decades. Which strategy transformed London's Bankside Power Station into Tate Modern? Adaptive reuse. Tate Modern gave an obsolete power station. Which architecture firm designed both Willis Tower and Burj Khalifa? SOM. The firm designed both Willis Tower and Burj Khalifa. Which hotel company began with a 9-seat root beer stand in Washington, D.C.? Marriott. The hotel empire traces its beginnings to a 9-seat root beer stand in Washington, D.C.
Unlike gold-backed currency, modern fiat money depends primarily on what? Public trust. Fiat money has value because people trust and accept the issuing system. Which U.S. president ended dollar convertibility into gold in 1971? Richard Nixon. He suspended dollar-to-gold convertibility in the 1971 Nixon shock. USDC is designed to avoid crypto's extreme price swings by maintaining what? Price stability. USDC is designed to remain close to $1. Which payment card grew from the story of a businessman forgetting his wallet at dinner? Diners Club. A forgotten wallet helped inspire the modern charge card. Every 210,000 blocks, Bitcoin cuts which miner payout in half? Block reward. Which country became the first to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender? El Salvador. It made Bitcoin legal tender in 2021. Which 1944 conference shaped the IMF, World Bank, and a dollar-centered monetary order? Bretton Woods. It shaped the post-war monetary system and created the IMF and World Bank. Which company faced a landmark U.S. antitrust case over bundling Internet Explorer with Windows?
Microsoft. The case challenged its use of Windows dominance in the browser market. Which hedge fund's 1998 collapse led to a Federal Reserve-organized private rescue? LTCM. Its leveraged collapse triggered a private rescue organized by the Federal Reserve. What name did French luxury group PPR adopt in 2013? Kering. PPR adopted the name as it focused on global luxury brands. Which workplace app grew from an internal tool built for the failed online game Glitch? Slack. It evolved from Glitch's internal communication tool. Apple's 1997 purchase of which company brought Steve Jobs back and shaped modern macOS? Next, the acquisition returned jobs and provided the foundation for modern macOS. Which architect designed both the Guggenheim Bilbao and Fondation Louis Vuitton? Frank Gehry. He designed both landmark buildings. What was the original name of Meta's discontinued digital currency project, later renamed Diem? Libra. Meta later renamed it Diem before discontinuing the project.
Did you reach the Gold Cup? Share your score and remaining Capital Shields in the comments. We'll see you in the next Capital Quotient Quiz.